Hello, and welcome. So, meet the new authoritarian masters of the internet. So, I'll read you this article. These are basically your new boss if you like to write things in the internet. Looks good, right? So, let's see what's happening. Sorry. President Barack Obama's drive to hand off control of the internet domains to a foreign multinational operation will give some very unpleasant regimes equal say over the future of online speech and commerce. In fact, they are likely to have as much or more influence than America because they will collectively push hard for more tightly controlled
Looks like
internet. They will collectively push hard for a more tightly controlled internet, and they are known for aggressively using political and economic pressure to get what they want. Here is a look at some of the regimes that begin shaping the future of the internet in just few days. If President Obama gets his way, and President Obama did get his way, so this has already, ICANN went through it, this has already happened, so this is now true. China wrote the book on authoritarian control of online speech. The legendary Great Firewall of China prevents citizens of the communist states from accessing global content the Politburo disapproves of. Chinese technology companies are required by law to provide the regime with backdoor access to just about everything. The Chinese government outright banned online news reporting in July, granting the government even tighter controls over the spread of information. Websites are only permitted to post news from official government sources. Chinese online news wasn't exactly bastion of freedom before that, of course, but at least the government censors had to track down news stories they disliked and demand the site administrations to take them down. Unsurprisingly, the Chinese communists
Ted Cruz has found
big fans of independent news analysis or blogging either. Bloggers who criticize the government are liable to be charged with inciting subversion, even when the writer in question is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Chinese citizens
a new enemy now that he's done facing off against
Chinese citizens know better than
Donald Trump to win a seat in the White House.
This is the most annoying website ever. Chinese citizens know better than to get cheeky on social media accounts as well. Before online news websites were totally banned, they were forbidden from reporting news gathered from social media without government approval. Spreading anything the government decides is fake news is a crime. In a report labeled China, one of the worst countries for internet freedom in the world, Freedom House know that they already been playing games with internet registration and security verification. The China Internet Network Information Center was found to be issuing forced digital security certificates for a number of websites, including Google, exposing the site's users to a man-in-the-middle attacks. The government strengthened its real name registration laws for blogs, instant messaging services, discussion forums, and comment sections of websites. A key feature of China's online censorship is that frightened citizens are not entirely certain what the rules are. Huge ministries work tirelessly to pump out content regulation and punish infractions. Not all of the rules are actually written down, as foreign policy explained. Before posting, a Chinese web user is likely to consider basic questions about how likely a post is to travel, whether it runs counter to government priorities, and whether it calls for action or is likely to endanger it. Those answers help determine whether the post can be published without incident. As it is somewhere around 84% to 87% of the time, or is instead likely to lead to a spectrum of negative consequences varying from censorship to the deletion of the user's account to his or her detention, even arrest and conviction. This was accompanied by a flowchart demonstrating what gets you censored on the Chinese internet, which is not a simple flowchart. Beijing is not even slightly self-conscious about the authoritarian control of the internet. On the contrary, their censorship policies are trumpeted as internet sovereignty, and they aggressively believe the entire world should follow their model, as the Washington Post reported in the May 2016 article entitled China's Scary Lesson to the World, Censoring the Internet Works. China already has a quarter of the planet's internet users locked up behind a great firewall. How can anyone doubt they won't use the opportunity Obama has given them to pursue their openly stated desires to lock down the rest of the world? And then Russia. Russia and China are already working together for a more heavily censored internet. Foreign Policy reported one of Russia's main goals for the April Forum was to harness Chinese expertise in internet management to gain further control over Russia's internet, including foreign sites accessible there. Russia's top cop Alexandra Pryatskin explicitly stated Russia needs to stop playing false democracy and abandon pseudo-liberal values by following China's lead on internet censorship instead of emulating USA, for example. Like China's censors, Russian authoritarians think internet freedom is just a coded language for the West imposing cultural hegemony on the rest of the world. Just think what Russia and China will be able to do about troublesome foreign websites once Obama surrenders control of internet domains. American control of internet domains. Russia President Vladimir Putin has chipped away at internet freedom in Russia since he returned to the Kremlin in 2012, as International Business Times put it in a 2014 article. One of Putin's new laws requires bloggers with over 3,000 readers to register with the government, providing their name and home addresses. As with China, Russia punishes online writers for spreading false information, and once the charge is leveled, it's basically guilty until proven innocent. For example, one of the crimes that can get a blogger prosecuted in Russia is alleging the corruption of public officials without ironclad proof. Human rights group Agora estimates that Russian internet censorship grew by 900% in 2015 alone, including both court orders and edicts from government agencies that don't require court approval. Censorship was expected to intensify even further throughout 2016. Penalties include prison time, even for the crime of liking or sharing banned content on social media. Putin incidentally has described the entire internet as a CIA plot designed to subvert regimes like his. There will be quite a few people involved in the multinational internet control agency who think purging the web of American influence is a top priority. The Russian government has prevailed upon internet service providers to block opposition websites during times of political unrest, in addition to thousands of bans ostensibly issued for security, crime fighting, and anti-pornography purposes. Many governments follow the lead of Russia and China in asserting the right to shut down extremist or subversive websites. In the United States, we worry about law enforcement abusing its authority while battling outright terrorism online, arguing that privacy and freedom of speech must always be measured against security, no matter how dire the threat. In Russia, a rough majority of population has no problem with the notion of censoring the internet in the name of political stability and will countenance absolutely draconian control over perceived national security threat. This is a distressingly common view in the other nations as well. Stability justifies censorship and monitoring, not just physical security. Turkey. Turkey's crackdown on the internet was alarming even before the aborted July coup attempt against the authoritarian president Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Turkey has banned social media sites, including temporary bans against even giants like Facebook and YouTube for political reasons. Turkish dissidents are accustomed to such bans coming down on the eve of elections. The Turkish Telecom Authority can impose such bans without a court order or warning the offending websites. Turkey is often seen as the world's leader in blocking Twitter accounts, in addition to occasionally shutting the social media service down completely, and has over 100,000 websites blacklisted. Criticizing the governments online can result in anything from lost employment to criminal charges. And if you think social media harassment from loyal supporters of the government in power can get pretty bad in the US, Turks sometimes discover that hassles from pro-regime trolls online are followed by visits from the police. Turkish law infamously makes it a crime to insult the president, a law Erdogan's already attempted to impose beyond Turkey's borders. One offender found himself hauled into court for creating a viral meme, the sort of thing manufactured by the thousands every hour in America that know that Erdogan bore a certain resemblance to Gollum from Lord of the Rings. The judge, in his case, ordered expert testimony on whether Gollum was evil to conclusively determine whether the meme was an illegal insult to the president. And I also covered in my Be Nice, Be Deutsch video this German stand-up comedian who made jokes about Erdogan and was tried to be convicted from Germany. The Turkish example introduces another idea common to far too many of the countries. Obama wants to give equal say to the future of the internet. Intimidation is a valid purpose for law enforcement. Many of Turkey's censorship laws are understood to be mechanisms for intimidating dissidents, raising the cost of free speech enough to make people watch their words very carefully. Think twice before you tweet might be good advice for some users, but regimes like Erdogan seek to impose that philosophy on everyone. This runs strongly contrary to the American understanding of the internet as a powerful instrument that lowers the cost of speech to near zero, the biggest quantum leap for free expression in human history. Zero-cost speech is seen as a big problem by many of the governments that will now place strong hands upon the global internet radar. Turkey is very worried about backdoors that allow citizens to circumvent official censorship, a concern they will likely bring to internet control, along with like-minded authoritarian regimes. These governments will make the case for free and open internet as a direct threat to their sovereign right to control what their citizens read. As long as any part of the internet remains completely free, no sector can be completely controlled. Ooh, there's still Saudi Arabia and North Korea, so I'm looking forward to it. So, Saudi Arabia. The Saudis aren't too far behind China in the internet rankings by Freedom House. Dissident on the activity can bring jail sentences plus the occasional public flogging. This is particularly lamentable because Saudi Arabia is keenly interested in modernization and sees the internet as a valuable economic resource along with thriving social media presence. Freedom House notes that internet remains the least repressive space for expression in the country, but it is by no means free. While the state focuses on combating violent extremism and disrupting terrorist networks, it has clamped down on non-violent liberal activists and human rights defenders with the same zeal, branding them threat to the national order and prosecuting them with special terrorist tribunals, Freedom House notes. USA Today noted as of 2014, Saudi Arabia had about 400,000 websites blocked, including any that discuss political, social or religious topics incompatible with the Islamic beliefs of the monarchy. At one point the blacklist included Huffington Post, ironic because that's a feminist web newspaper that doesn't really that much go against Islam often, which has banned for having the temerity to run articles suggesting the Saudi system might implode because of oil dependency and political repression. The best response to criticism that your government is too repressive is a blacklist. So yeah, this page won't be writing much about women's rights in Saudi Arabia, I'm sure, but like, even if they just write something random little bit and they'll get blocked. It's very funny. The Saudis have a penchant for blocking messaging apps and voice over IP services like Skype and FreeTime. App blocking got so bad that Saudi users have been known to ask what's the point of having the internet. While some Saudis grumble about censorship, many others are active, enthusiastic participants in enforcement, filling hundreds of requests each day to have websites blocked. Religious figures supply many of these requests today, and the government defends much of the censorship as defense of Islamic values. As with other censorous regimes, the Saudi monarchy worries about citizens using web services beyond its control to evade censorship, a concern that will surely be expressed loudly once America surrenders its command of the internet domains. For the record, the Saudis' rivals in Iran are heavy internet censors too, with Stratfor listing them as one of the countries seeking Chinese assistance for solutions on how to best monitor the Iranian population. North Korea. This should be fine. You can't make a list of authoritarian nightmares without including the psychotic regime of Pyongyang, the most secretive government in the world. North Korea is so repressive, the BBC justly puts the word internet in scare quotes to describe the online environment. It doesn't really interconnect with anything except government propaganda and surveillance. Computers in the lone internet cafe in Pyongyang actually boot up to a customized Linux operating system called Red Star instead of Windows or Mac OS. The calendar software in Red Star measures the date from the birth of the communist founder Kim Il-sung rather than the birth of the Christ. The internet itself is a closed system called Kwakumong, I can't pronounce that, and citizens can only access it through a single state-run provider, with the exception of a few dozen privileged families that can punch into the real internet. Pyongyang is often compared to the closed intranet system in corporate office with perhaps 5,000 websites available at most. Unsurprisingly, the content is mostly state-monitored messaging and state-supplied media. Contributors to the online services have reportedly been sent to re-education camps for typos. That's so funny. The North Koreans are so worried about outside contamination of their closed network that they banned Wi-Fi hotspots at foreign embassies, having noticed information stored North Korean citizens clustering within range of those beautiful uncensored wireless networks. This doesn't stop South Korea from attempting cultural penetration of their squad-like neighbor's dismal little online network. Lately, they've been doing it by loading banned information into a cheap memory sticks, tying them to balloons and floating them across the border. Sure, North Korea is the ultimate totalitarian nightmare, and since they have less than 2,000 IP addresses registered in the entire country, the outlaw regime won't be a big influence on Obama's multinational internet authority, right? Not so fast. As North Korean expert Scott Thomas Bruce told BBC, authoritarian governments who are looking at what is happening in the Middle East see North Korea as the model to be emulated. They are saying, rather than let in Facebook and rather than let in Twitter, what if the government created a Facebook that we could monitor and control, Bruce explained. Also, North Korea has expressed some interest in using the internet as a tool for economic development, which means there would be more penetration of the actual global network into their society. They'll be very interested in censoring and controlling the access, and they'll need a lot of more registered domains and IP addresses. The very resource Obama wants America to surrender control of. Bottom line, contrary to the left-wing cant, there is such thing as American exceptionalism, areas in which the United States is demonstrably superior to every other nation, a leader to which the entire world should look, for example. Sadly, our society is losing its fervor for free expression and growing more comfortable with suppressing unacceptable speech, but we are still far better than anyone else in this regard. The rest of the world, taken in total, is very interested in suppressing various forms of expression for reasons ranging from security, political stability, or religion. Those governments will never be comfortable so long as parts of the internet remain outside of their control. They have censorship demands they consider very reasonable and absolutely vital. The website you are reading right now violates every single one of them on a regular basis. There may come a day we can safely remain control of the internet domains to an international body, but that day most certainly is not October 1st, 2016, and this actually happened. So, to conclude, I've heard, like, for example, in Finland, that there's so many people killing themselves because of mean comments in the internet that we should censor free speech. But do you really want to follow example of these regimes? Because, like it or not, we are headed that way. If you are anyway interested, for example, these things I've talked about feminism, now is the time to brush up, read some studies and look into these things, because tomorrow you might not be able to. You might not be able to find any coherent information, any real information. So you better study now. And like this is the thing about internet. It's so amazing because you can be anonymous there. You can say things freely. If you start to censor it, then like sorry people said, what's the point of even having it? If this kind of totalitarian control over internet comes, I'm sure many people, if they don't make it illegal like in these places, but many people will try to go to Tor networks or other new internets, because the thing is that you don't have to, if your fifis are hurt for rude comments, you don't have to use the internet. It's just, you don't have to go there. And it's easy to see here, it's very slippery slope to try to change the internet for friendly for everyone, because like it or not, everybody gets abuse from internet, and you can use it if you want, you can not use it if you want, but if you wanna have free expression, there will be some abuse. What can you do? If you have some kind of suggestion how to get the internet without abuse, how to get the internet without pretty internet with also freedom of speech, then tell me about it, but I'm pretty sure it's impossible, and I'm pretty sure we are headed in a very wrong direction.